I knew I was gay from a young age, but in my house, that shit wasn't gonna fly. Remember, boys, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. My dad would preach at dinner. My sister would nod eagerly. Amen. I just stared at my plate, stomach churning. Every Sunday at church was the same drill. Pastor ranting about sins and hellfire. One day after service, I overheard my mom gossiping. Did you hear about the Johnson boy? Caught with another boy. They're sending him away to get fixed. My blood ran cold. I vowed right then to keep my mouth shut and play straight, no matter what. At school, I'd force myself to look at girls, date them even, but my eyes always wandered to the guys in the locker room. One night, Dad caught me staring too long at a shirtless dude on TV. He smacked me upside the head. The hell you looking at, boy? You some kind of faggot? And no, sir, I stammered, heart racing. Better not be, he growled. No son of mine's gonna be a goddamn queer. I nodded, fighting back tears. This was my life, lying, hiding, praying to a God I wasn't sure existed to make me normal. Finally, I escaped to college. Different state, different scene. First day there, I met my roommate, Jake. Hey man, I'm Jake, he said, extending his hand. You cool with me being gay? If not, we can request a switch. My jaw dropped, just like that. He was out. No fear, no shame. Yeah, that's cool, I stammered. He grinned. Sweet. There's a good gay bar downtown if you ever want to check it out. I played it cool, but inside I was freaking out. People could just be gay here. Took me weeks to work up the courage, but I finally went. Walking into that bar felt like stepping into another world. Guys dancing with guys, kissing openly, no one giving a shit. I met Ryan there. He bought me a drink. We danced, and next thing I knew, we were making out in the alley behind the bar. First time, he asked, smirking. I nodded, breathless. Don't worry, he winked. I'll be gentle. I said that night with Ryan. It was like everything clicked into place. For the first time in my life, I felt right in my own skin. But every time I went home for break, I had to shove that part of me back in the closet. Met any nice girls? Mom would ask. Nah, focusing on my studies, I'd lie. It was exhausting living two lives. But the freedom at college worth every second of the charade back home. Graduation hit like a ton of bricks. No more safe haven of college. I was headed back to my parents' place, back into the closet. First night back, Dad cornered me. So, son, what's the plan now? Got a job lined up? Working on it, I mumbled. He grunted. Better hurry. No freeloaders in this house. I was job hunting when the call came. Grandpa had a heart attack. At the hospital, the family gathered around his bed. I held his hand, remembering summers at his place. He never judged, just listened. I'm proud of you, kiddo, he whispered, squeezing my hand. Those were his last words. After he flatlined, Dad didn't even wait for the doctor to leave before he started. Well, at least the old man had a good run, he said, rubbing his hands together. Wonder what he left us, eh? I couldn't believe it. Jesus, Dad, he's not even cold yet. Mom shot me a warning look. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. I bit my tongue, fighting back tears. Grandpa was the only one who ever really got me, and now he was gone. Once at night, I overheard my parents talking. Shasadi, think he left us everything? Mom asked. Dad chuckled. Of course he did. Who else would he leave it to? The boy. Please. Their laughter felt like a knife in my gut. I wanted to scream, to tell them off, to come out right then and there. But I didn't. I just lay there, silent tears soaking my pillow, missing the one person who might have accepted me for who I really was. The day after the funeral, Dad was already on the phone with Grandpa's lawyer. What do you mean we have to wait? He barked into the phone. I'm his only living child, for Christ's sake. I rolled my eyes. Same old Dad, always in a rush when money was involved. A week later, he came back from the lawyer's office with a shit-eating grin. Well, Mom asked, practically salivating. Dad puffed up his chest. Let's just say we won't have to worry about money for a while. I frowned. What about me and Sis? Did Grandpa leave us anything? He waved his hand dismissively. Oh, just a small sum each. I'll give it to you when you need it. Something felt off. Grandpa always said I was his favorite. Would he really leave me just a small sum? I pressed further. How much exactly? Dad's eyes narrowed. What's with the third degree? You ungrateful now? No, He cut me off. Look, I'm in charge of the estate. You'll get what's coming to you when I say so. End of discussion. Just as that night, I overheard them again. Can't believe how much the old man left us, Mom whispered. Dad chuckled. Good thing the boy doesn't know. He'd probably blow it all on some foolishness. My blood boiled. They were hiding something. I was sure of it. What could I do? I had no proof, no money for a lawyer. I was trapped. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a stranger in my own home. First Grandpa's death, now this secrecy about the will. Something had to give, and soon. I just didn't know how ugly it was going to get. I was pacing in my room, trying to figure out how to confront Dad about the will when my sister barged in. "Ever heard of knocking?" I snapped. She ignored me, rummaging through my dresser. "Where's that blue shirt I lent you?" I started, then froze. My photo with Ryan was in that drawer. "What's this?" She held up the picture, her eyes widening. I lunged for it. "Give that back." But she danced away, studying it. Are you?" "It's nothing," I said, snatching it from her. Her face twisted with disgust. "Oh my God, you're one of them, aren't you? A faggot." Before I could stop her, she bolted from the room. "Mom, Dad." Her panic surged through me. This was it, the moment I dreaded for years. I found them all in Dad's study. He was holding the photo, his face purple with rage. "What the hell is this?" he roared. I took a deep breath. No more hiding. It's exactly what it looks like. I'm gay. Mom let out a wail. No, my baby boy." "I'm not your baby," I shot back. "I'm a grown man who likes other men. Deal with it." Dad slammed his fist on the desk. "Not in this house, you're not. I won't have a queer for a son." Spined by me, I spat. "I'm done pretending to be someone I'm not." "You ungrateful little shit," he snarled. "After everything we've done for you?" I cut him off. "Done for me? You mean controlling every aspect of my life, making me hide who I really am?" Mom was sobbing now. "We can fix this. We'll call Pastor John." "There's nothing to fix," I shouted. "This is who I am." Dad pointed to the door. "Get out. You're no son of mine." I looked at each of them, Dad's fury, Mom's tears, my sister's disgust. Years of pent-up anger and pain exploded out of me. "Fuck you," I snarled. "Fuck all of you and your hypocritical bullshit." I stormed out, grabbing my pre-packed bag. As I slammed the front door, I heard Mom wailing and Dad shouting, but I didn't look back. I was done with them, done with the lies. For the first time in my life, I felt free. I crashed at my boyfriend's place that night, still shaking with adrenaline. "You okay?" he asked, holding me. I laughed bitterly. "I just lost my entire family. What do you think?" The next few weeks were a blur. I was jobless, nearly broke, and completely cut off from my family. My phone buzzed constantly with texts. "Please come home, we can pray about this, Dad." "You made your choice. Don't come crawling back." "Sister, how could you do this to us?" "You're disgusting." I blocked them all. Finding a job was a bitch. Every interview felt like a dead end. "Sorry, we're looking for someone with more experience," they'd say. "We don't want a queer working here." I finally landed a shitty entry-level gig, barely covering rent for a crappy studio apartment. My boyfriend tried to help, but I could see the strain in his eyes. "You can stay with me as long as you need," he said one night. I shook my head. "I can't keep mooching off you." "It's not mooching, It is," I cut him off. "And it's killing us." We broke up a week later. Alone in my tiny apartment, depression hit me like a freight train. Years of suppressed emotions came flooding out. I'd cry myself to sleep, wake up in cold sweats from nightmares about my dad's rage. One night, drunk and feeling sorry for myself, I called home. "Hello?" Mom's voice was hesitant. "Mom, I choked up." "Oh, honey," she sighed. "Come home. We can fix this." For a moment, I was tempted. Then I heard Dad in the background. "Is that the faggot? Hang up." Click. I threw the phone across the room, sobbing. There was no going back, but how the hell was I supposed to move forward? Months passed. I was scraping by, but barely. One day, I got a letter from Grandpa's old lawyer. "Mr. Thompson requests a meeting regarding your grandfather's estate." First, my heart raced. Maybe there was some money after all. I walked into his office, feeling out of place in my cheap suit. "Thanks for coming," Thompson said, frowning at his papers. "There seems to be a discrepancy." "What kind of discrepancy?" He sighed. "According to the original will, you were to inherit the bulk of your grandfather's estate." I blinked. "However," he continued, "the will was altered recently. You were declared mentally unstable, making you ineligible to inherit." This is a room spun. "That's bullshit. I'm not." "I know," he cut me off. "The documents look suspicious." I slumped in my chair. "How much?" "Excuse me. How much did they steal from me?" He hesitated, then slid a paper across the desk. I looked at the number and felt sick. "Millions," I whispered. "Those fuckers stole millions from me." Thompson leaned forward. "Mr. Johnson, if what I suspect is true, this is fraud. You have grounds to sue." I laughed bitterly. "With what money? I can barely afford raiment." He smiled slightly. There are lawyers who take this case pro bono, the potential payout. As my mind raced, sue my family. The idea was terrifying, exhilarating. What do I need to do? I asked. As Thompson outlined the process, a fire lit in my gut. They'd controlled me, rejected me, and now stolen from me. Where enough was enough, it was time to fight back. I left Thompson's office with a mix of rage and determination. A pro bono lawyer named Sarah agreed to take my case. This won't be easy, she warned during our first meeting. Your family has resources and they'll fight dirty. I nodded grimly. Trust me, I know. We filed the lawsuit the next day. Within hours, my phone exploded. You ungrateful little shit. After everything we've done for you? Mom, please, honey, don't do this. We're family. Sissus, you're dead to us. Hope it was worth it, faggot. I showed Sarah the messages. She frowned. We need a restraining order. This is harassment. The day after we got the order, I spotted Dad's car outside my apartment. He rolled down the window as I walked. You really want to do this? He snarled. Air all our dirty laundry in court. I leaned in close. You started this. I'm just finishing it. He peeled away, tires screeching. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of depositions and document reviews. Sarah looked grimmer each day. They've got character witnesses lined up, she told me. People claiming you're unstable, violent, drug-addicted. I laughed bitterly. Let me guess, all from our church? She nodded. We need to be prepared for them to bring up your sexuality, your mental health history. I don't care, I said firmly. I've got nothing left to hide. The night before our first court date, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, remembering Grandpa's words. Always stand up for what's right, kiddo, no matter how hard it gets. As dawn broke, I made a promise to myself and to Grandpa's memory. I was going to win this fight no matter what it took. I walked into the courthouse that morning with my head held high. Let them throw their worst at me. I was done being their victim. The trial was uglier than I'd imagined. Dad's hotshot lawyer painted me as a deranged, drug-addicted queer with delusions of grandeur. Ladies and gentlemen, he said to the jury, this young man's own family had to protect him from himself. They acted out of love. I gripped the table, knuckles white. Sarah squeezed my arm. Stay calm, she whispered. We've got. Their parade of character witnesses was a greatest hits of homophobia. Pastor John took the stand, eyes gleaming with righteous fury. That boy was always different, he spat. Needed more guidance than most, more prayer. When it was our turn, Sarah tore into their story. If my client is so unstable, she asked Dad, why wasn't he hospitalized? Where are the medical records? Dad sputtered. We were trying to handle it privately. Privately? Sarah raised an eyebrow. Or secretly? Things took a turn when the financial investigator testified. He pulled up records of massive transfers from Grandpa's accounts to Dad's personal ones. Your Honor, he said, these transactions occurred mere days after the will was allegedly changed. The courtroom erupted. Dad's face turned purple. Mom started sobbing. During a recess, Sarah cornered Dad's lawyer. I overheard snippets: Nero, fraud charges, criminal trial, plea deal. When we returned, their lawyer looked defeated. Your Honor, in light of new evidence, my clients wish to change their plea. The judge peered over his glasses. Is this true, Mr. Johnson? Dad stood, shoulders slumped. Yes, Your Honor, we did it. We forged the documents. We stole the money. I felt lightheaded. After all the lies, the pain, the struggle, they were finally admitting it. The judge's gavel came down hard. This case will now proceed as a criminal trial. Bailiff, take the defendants into custody. As they led my family away, Dad caught my eye. For a moment I saw something there. Regret, sorrow, but then it was gone, replaced by cold hatred. I walked out of that courtroom victorious but hollow. I'd won, but at what cost? The verdict came down like a hammer. Dad got 6 months in jail plus community service. Mom and Sis got off with just community service. The judge ordered all my assets returned, plus damages. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed me. How does it feel to win? One shouted. I stared at them numb. Feels like shit, actually. Back in my apartment, I stared at the check. More money than I'd ever dreamed of, but it felt tainted. A text from Mom. I hope you're happy now. You've destroyed this family. I typed back. You did that when you chose money over your own son. Blocked her number. Again? The next few weeks were a blur. I moved out of town, changed my number, couldn't handle the whispers, the stares. To them, I was just the greedy queer who sued his own family. One night, drunk and feeling sorry for myself, I called my ex. I won, I slurred. Got everything I wanted. So why do I feel so fucking empty? He sighed. Because money doesn't fix trauma, babe. You need help. He was right. I started therapy the next week. Slowly, I began to unpack years of abuse, of hiding, of shame. My therapist asked, "What do you want to do with your life now?" I thought about it. Help kids like me, kids stuck in families that don't accept them. So that's what I did. Use some of the money to start a shelter for LGBT theater. It wasn't easy, but it gave me purpose. A year later, I got a letter from Dad, just released from jail. It read, "I was wrong about everything. I'm sorry." I stared at it for hours, tears streaming down my face. Didn't know if I'd ever forgive him. Didn't know if I even wanted to. But as I looked around at the shelter, at the kids we were helping, I realized something. I'd finally broken free, not just from my family's control, but from their hatred, their narrow-mindedness. I was building something new, something better. And for the first time in my life, I was truly, completely free.